Georgia -2.5 at Ole Miss. Ole Miss currently ranked number 16. This is essentially an elimination game for the Rebels, as we now know from the college football playoff rankings. And I want to start with Carson Beck. 11 interceptions in the last 5 games. A lot of concerns I have. I think you do too, about what he is going to cost this team, which we know they have a great defense. We know how good, how well they're coached, how good they can be as Georgia, as the gold standard in the sport. But Carson Beck is going to cost them games. He's keeping games closer than they should be for a long time. And he's just really regressed from what we've seen last year. So that's where I have to start when I look at this game and I think about Ole Miss's chances to pull off the win.
Yeah, I'm totally there with you. They're winning in spite of his performances, right? Like, I think it's pretty clear here that he is the pimple when you look at this team. I don't know what is different about him, but like whatever is causing these turnovers, they have to get figured out. And I do think it's intriguing when you watch Georgia games and you see how Kirby gets on everybody except for Carson Beck. Yeah. Like it seems like he's really trying to help Carson Beck through this slump, whatever it is. And so it's like maybe he turns a corner, maybe he doesn't. If he doesn't, I do think this can be a little bit of a problem. So Ole Miss defensively, I do think that they are much better than they have been in the past. Their pass defense isn't elite. It's not. But again, the Carson Beck issue is a problem. So if you're Georgia, the idea is, especially when you go on the road, you want to run the football. Their run game is not good. And Ole Miss is second nationally in run defense. Like, I do think there are some categories in this game where you start to look and say, like, yeah, 2.5 probably feels like the right number, because I don't know how big the gap is when it comes to the actual matchups that would be important in this game here. The Georgia defense is phenomenal. When they're playing their best ball, they are championship ready. Jackson Dart, when he is playing his best ball, is excellent. Also a problem. So it's going to be a fun matchup. Like, I'm excited to watch it, but there are some standout matchups here where it's like, you know, Georgia on defense, is Jackson Dart going to be able to get right, which he couldn't do a year ago. They were bad offensively against Georgia a year ago. Is Carson Beck going to continue to turn the football over? If they can't get the run game started, how big of an issue is that going to be? That's what I'm looking at here.
Completely agree. I think I've been talking myself into Ole Miss this week, which is a little bit dangerous because this is exactly the kind of game that they have not won under Lane Kiffin. But you know, Jackson Dart was your preseason Heisman pick. Like, he's your guy. I'm just so tempted in this game to go with the better quarterback. I think that Ole Miss is incredibly talented. I was talking to some friends who called their games this year, and they said it's very overwhelming, like the talent, the size, the physicality, athleticism. And they just really still believe in Ole Miss. And obviously one of their losses was so weird, right? Like they led the entire game against LSU and they lost that game. So I think I'm going to take Ole Miss +2.5 here. I know that could immediately backfire, and Carson Beck has his best game of the year, but I'm going to ride with the Rebels.
Same. And the reason I think it's going to backfire for me is not Carson Beck, but I mean, Kirby is a really phenomenal coach.
The coach matchup here.
And Lane, sometimes he just gets you. You know, he'll just get you every once in a while.